Calling from an 860 area code. Who's this? Jamie? Jamie seems to be talking to her cat.
Oh, hello. Hold on. I need to turn down the volume in the background.
Oh my
After
God.
hearing so many phone calls on this show over the past 2 years, Jamie, you don't realize when people listen to the show off their phone that it's not how it doesn't work well.
Oh my God. Well, I was trying to pay attention because I'm doing the notes. So I was listening off of my computer. But then,
fair enough.
I realized when I caught up. Yeah, sorry about that.
This is like a libertarian call.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. This is a great start to this call, huh? Hi guys.
Jamie, yes. How are you doing?
You know, I'm doing all right. I've actually been very busy this past week or so, cranking out content with the Antifada, trying to help people understand this crisis and what's going on, as well as helping ourselves understand it because we are all muddling through together. I also have been on a lot of calls with DSA about the various legislative demands we need to be making, how we can put pressure on Cuomo specifically, and also planning out networks of mutual aid. I went on my first grocery run the other night. I'm not one of the main organizers. I just put my name on the spreadsheet. Someone texted me. I went to get some groceries for some folks who couldn't get them for themselves, and I reimbursed myself out of the fund. That was pretty cool.
And so when you do this run, are you going, I mean, what was the grocery store like? Did you go in, are you wearing gloves? Are you wearing masks? You're just making sure you keep distance from people? You washing your hands?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have not been able to track down a mask yet, but I was able to get some gloves, and, you know, we're following best practices to the degree that we're able to, double bagging stuff when we get there, we leave the groceries outside the door. You know,
now what is the double bagging thing? Explain the double bagging thing.
Oh, so I guess there's a higher chance that the outside bag is contaminated. So I'm not really sure how this works. I'm not an epidemiologist, but people are saying, like, if you order stuff from the outside world, you should take it out of the bag immediately, throw the bag away, wash your hands, disinfect the outsides of the things in the packaging to the degree that you can, and then you will be safer than if you hadn't done that.
Yeah, I mean, this is along the lines of, like, if you get a package, the best thing to do is to leave it outside your door if you can. I mean, if you're obviously in an apartment building and you trust everybody, or if you are at a house and you can leave it outside for 24 hours, much better to do that than anything else. But if you do need to open it up, whatever you're going to open it up with, you know, you can wash your hands, but you get, like, I'm opening them up and I'm dropping the thing on the ground and then washing my hands and then picking it up.
I hope it's not breakable.
You know, I lost a couple of plates that way, but no.
Yeah, so that's been really inspiring to see everybody coming together and helping each other out. And that is actually the topic of my most recent episode of the Antifada. We had on the politics editor from Teen Vogue, Lucy Diavolo, or, you know, as I like to call it, Guillotine Vogue. And she talks about some of the mutual aid networks that have been forming and some of the history of mutual aid and community defense as, you know, not just a way to survive in the present moment, but a way to really build class power and solidarity on the radical left. The Black Panthers are one of the examples that come to mind.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we'll put a link. Will you put a link in the blogs to DSA in was it in North Brooklyn? That is it or wherever it was.
It's the whole city.
All right. Well, so
Yeah, I will.
okay, great. Um, and so when is that Antifada coming out?
Oh, we released 2 episodes last week, so that's already out now. Along with Sean did a 2-parter of his series "Line Goes Down," which is about Marxist political economy with a particular eye to crisis. So, as you can imagine, that's pretty relevant right now as well. I learned a lot. I always learn a lot from listening to it. I also want to recommend a piece in a journal called Shuang. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Schlong.
It's a communist journal out of China. It's spelled Chuang. It's called Social Contagion, and it kind of traces the various ways that capitalist development has, in a large part, created these kinds of modern plagues, as well as exacerbating the consequences for them. It also talks about how the Chinese government's response has in some ways mirrored counterinsurgency tactics used by a powerful state against its populace, and poses it as kind of a dry run for how a powerful state might respond to an actual insurrection, and shows kind of some of the cracks that are starting to show in the facade of state power, even in a place as state powerful as China.
There you go. All right. Well, Jamie, stay safe. And hopefully, if we are successful, we had a little hiccup today, obviously, with our bandwidth. But hopefully, we'll be able to get you on the line for the whole show tomorrow or in the coming days.
Hell yeah. It happens to the best of us. I also just want to say one more thing. These videos you've been playing are making me so mad. But also, when I say over and over again that the capitalist mode of production is maybe not the best way to organize society and provide for human needs, everyone looks at me like, oh, Jamie, you're so crazy. But it took 6 days for these schools to start trying to make blood sacrifices so an imaginary line would go back up. An imaginary line that humans invented and now controls all of our lives. So all I'm saying, maybe it's time to rethink this system.
And I would also add that the reason why apparently the president has not used the powers of the Defense Production Act is because basically the Chamber of Commerce has said, don't do it. But there's a tremendous amount of mayhem amongst these manufacturers. They don't know, like, are we making too much? Are we making too little? What should we be making for whom? We have a lot of different contracts that are coming in. Why shouldn't we take the biggest one? Why, I mean, it is stunning. There's clearly a failure. I hope you appreciate the nationalizing the airlines yesterday.
Oh, certainly.
I don't know that we can crowdsource those.
That we can crowdsource what?
Well, I mean, it's going to be hard to do airlines without a state, don't you think?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I would think so. Also, negative shout outs to Cuomo for trying to cut Medicaid. Still during a global pandemic, everyone is like crapping their pants over him because they just don't know all the bad shit that he's done, or I don't know, the media manufactures consent. But he's saying similar things to what Trump is saying. He's saying that we need to get back to work. He's not acknowledging, at least the Republicans are acknowledging that people will die as a result. Like, he's too smart to say that, but he's trying to make people go back to work or think about going back to work. And he's making cuts to Medicaid. He brought in a group of consultants to try to apply just-in-time production. We talked about this with Amazon, right? He's trying to apply that to public hospitals in New York City. So if hospitals have any empty beds at any given time, which is what you need to have in order to be ready for contingencies like this, that's considered waste in this corporate mindset. So he's been doing this all along, he knew exactly what he was doing. Oh, and if there are people waiting, if there's like a bottleneck of people waiting, that's good because it means they're operating at maximum efficiency. It's disgusting.
Jamie, thanks. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Later.
Going to do, we'll talk a little bit more about Andrew Cuomo as we go forward. But this is also what we were talking about